Hi, I'm Chris Ventura, and I'm here at Neil Ryder Realty with none other than Neil Ryder himself. Now, we're going to start off with just a very brief interview, if that's all right with you, Mr. Ryder, if you've got the time.
I do.
Now, starting right off, what first made you decide to open your own business?
My family has a history of always being interested in real estate investment. It was something we always did. When I moved to Tallahassee after graduating from prep school, I was taking a year off before going to college. And I got into building and also at the same time got my real estate license. It was something I always knew that I would do.
So you would say that your family largely inspired you to start your own business?
It was a family interest. So, yes, you could say that.
Did your family have any influence on the legal business structure of your...
No.
And what is the legal business structure of Neil Ryder Realty?
I'm a subchapter S corporation, which was pretty typical back then. LLCs weren't around. They weren't as popular as they are now. Most corporations now are LLCs.
How much money, time, and planning did you really have to invest for you to decide that opening your business would be a fruitful venture?
It happened by accident because I was mainly building and selling my own houses. And I realized that I was spending 95% of my time building and making 5% of my money. And I was spending 5% of my time in real estate and making 95% of my money. So it was a no-brainer. It was something I couldn't walk away from. I let my construction company go inactive and got heavily involved in real estate.
So,
mainly in new construction and mainly in new construction.
And finding a location for your business, it depended on the market, you'd say?
A location to physically house the business?
Yes.
No, I've always had a home office.
So the home office is typically wherever you see fit or wherever is best that works for you. And the market focus would be whichever area is doing the best. And conveniently at the time, it was Tallahassee?
Well, if you were smart, that would be it. But I wasn't smart, and I didn't realize rule number one of real estate, which is schools determine value in any town USA. And I was always building on the wrong end of town because it was where I lived, and it was convenient to me. If I had it to do over, I would have been building in the Northeast with the good schools. I would have built myself a new home every 13 months and rolled over into a new home every 13 months and started developing a huge rental portfolio and would not be working now.
Yeah, residual income does seem pretty nice. As for financials, how did you obtain your startup capital?
There was a time when I got family loans. I got some loans from my father, which isn't a route that I would recommend unless you were having a third-party independent review of your books, such as an accountant. Depending on a busy parent to review your financials is not a good idea, and it wasn't a good idea, for me. But I quickly got to the point where I stood on my own 2 feet and could pull my own loans, and I haven't had any kind of a family loan in decades.
Great. Now, as for marketing, what would you say is your most effective medium for reaching an audience?
Internet is where 90% of all new home searches start these
Definitely. And in the digital marketplace, did you distinguish yourself by building your own brand name or goodwill?
No, I'm more of a small boutique office that is referral based or new construction. So I'm typically working for one or two clients, one builder that's building, so that's where my listing comes from, and then past referrals and people that have been pleased with me. And I get my product on the internet in order to get exposure. But I don't spend any money on branding advertising.
Would you say that your social media is run by you to limit cost?
It's run by me, and I've hired people. More than anything, it's just neglected. It's one of those things that falls between the cracks because I don't have the manpower and time to monitor it better, and I make enough money without worrying about it.
Do you outsource these services?
I outsource a lot of my web work, and I have a lot of it in-house.
So some is insourced.
Right.
Do you have an employee who helps you with the marketing?
Yes.
What's his name?
Chris Ventura.
That's me. Do you have any licensing requirements that come with operating your business?
Yes. Florida has some of the strongest real estate licenses in the United States. Real estate license law, statute 475 in the United States. There's very specific rules about everything. I have a corporate license and I have a broker license. I've been a broker for about as long as I could be a broker. Back when I became a realtor, you only needed 1 year experience to become a broker. So
Right.
I became a broker like almost as soon as I could. Now I believe it's 2 years. So I have a corporate license, I have a broker license, I have a county license, I have a state license, and my office is in a community that allows home offices. So I don't have it, and the deed restrictions for the property allow home offices. So I don't have any zoning issues that are getting ignored.
Excellent, excellent. Now, looking around your office, I see things like a professional large grade printer, copiers, scanners, multiple monitors on every desktop setup. Would you say that you use a lot of technological devices to support your business and expedite services?
Definitely. I'm heavily invested in equipment and technology, and I did most of it during the boom years where everybody was making money hand over fist. But now I still am only going to have the very best equipment. I don't buy anything unless it's the very best. But I'm not out retooling and buying new printers, scanners, and color laser equipment like I would like to, because what I bought back in the boom years was all very heavy duty and won't die.
So your licenses are renewed every so often for your software applications that you use in the business?
No, I don't have very many softwares that have yearly licenses or things like that. But most of my software I have to stay very current on. So I usually have the latest version of a lot of software, particularly my contact manager. I had to upgrade that this year, which is very expensive. I had to update my server, which is very expensive. And the rest I sort of do as when, or necessity. But there's not a lot of necessity to have the latest version of Adobe Professional every time one comes out.
Definitely.
Although I'd like to.
What would you say is the most important quality that you look for when searching for the right employee for the job?
As a realtor or as backup staff?
You could say both.
For a realtor, there is no rhyme or reason what makes them successful. All types are successful. Probably the most important thing is they're empathetic and that they're likable. For an employee is technological savviness. I don't employ anybody as for backup staff or support staff from the open market. I only hire students.
For sure. That definitely seems like a great plan, and it's been working out so far. And just lastly, to wrap things up, just one or two more questions. What's the best advice that you can give someone starting out in their own business?
Starting out in their own business, get a great accountant and do monthly financials.
And that's all, folks. Thanks for tuning in. It was a great interview, learned a lot, and hopefully we'll see more from Neil Ryder. Take care.
Thank you.